Colleges of Education Teachers Association. Yeah. And Rakata FE. In fact, it's a.
I want an education doesn't matter.
Yeah, main to
Okay, we visa when I'm in Jazzy. Okay.
So almost started a strike, 1st of August. And then said the whole of the month of August, and Nadia or Makwajuma.
Nadia mom course striking your daddy.
I don't see him come over.
I mean, yes, one. What
to say for me? No, Bisa say, and I don't know.
See what so, before saying what you can be, we need to first of all know, say, again, I don't go strike because strike there, you have to go away. Before in the sector, maybe I want to do the strike near and come, but before I say other sectors, you be able to make a strike. CJ, there's always a rationale or some kind of reason. Yeah, exactly. A cause for it. You know, we need to first of all know the interim question. What reason anything?
In fact, why wouldn't him say association be because Sikasem?
Abandonka. And then into tomorrow more pay. A kai watching. Now the engagement doesn't have no material.
Sir, there was an appeal from National Labour Commission. Senka wamo enkwajumana wamombra table no.
You see, CJ, that is one of our problems. And yet, Bibia now also woman pani two and a mom be answer. I don't agree with that. So what here was it you and
yes.
I don't know what transfer because a woman but consulate me eduma. As my first about entrance answer. I mean, does that make sense? To me, it doesn't. Sabai Yatikruma will be abandoned the beer abandoned Gaza winning external internal one will be ordinary kabia. There are records to prove it. A woman said to be an Macomaconi and Cono Quantibia and I'm holding you about more immediately. But set one Casa beer, CJ. Man Casa and Manas and Nipanatia. Labour Commission. And none of motives and go for your strike. This people before say they will go on that strike. They first of all send signals. But no more can. Abayan just say my bosom we be saying. Abayan Gracie we be saying. It is a care what the da. Edian, I am pushed to believe, sir. You're from saying,
Sita.
That be the Labour Commission. Yeah. I wear send by this group we. Number 2, Abana Musi was on most of them Grophobia Suka. I am here for 1 more year come some Sita for you. But my point is, I don't know some trust CJ Catram said, and Name Maduma. Now, Passija Maduma. And son, I be a director of operations, so costume name, and I will be now maybe a program manager. After CJ, with a brand trust, and I was Casam Yanka. Didn't you know that you're owing somebody? Okay, I'm not saying, sir, I mean, strike don't have an effect on the job, on the people that are
the students now.
Exactly. One more, it will have an effect on them. Yeah, not happening. Maybe it has, maybe as I didn't be Sibiano. A dilemma because once I at the ceremony a by line or because by the person trying to say like what you say ebia na me course school me try bia quantitative matters what na me call bia because bia statistics so they say enti say wa manu a say man nyina no
syllabus now they
so that's so it delay one gasa na mu no timing in the school it delay academic calendar na delay bia so one effect but until now was here CJ. So how be wo in between time brand nipa ne adwuma no yem pe kwan bi so no mo nka na my entwen enya reactive people. That is one of our biggest problem in this country. You react to situations so you're proactive. You twen amade ne jigu hwe ensuo se made bi ensuo yiri yensije ye ba twen ensuo na yidanse na ka so say gata we kwani entete mu nja fe ensuo yiri yewie na amanfo ne ma say you fe na gata se na ye ma contract so bi nko yim. Meanwhile, tear the beyond you, you have no did. Sit up for no one, your best room. Sir, and I be a moving more. It be a munian beam or as if will be, maybe a was that system. No, our more train more agimon some named the answer. Your best room. Said the audio could be a woman media from all that you are saying, and as I'm saying, I don't think I by not first of all taking that step to engage you. Name over train say yentia tuani mi asa na fe aban for say brand entrance na so bia ko bia for say brand entrance say ho no menyim
so we get a proper understanding into I'm called my joy online.
All right,
I say na we can say already normal sounding warning and sana 1st of August.
It's possible, yeah.
Okay, we the colleges of education the colleges of education teachers association of Ghana SITAC has served notice to the of their intentions to withdraw services effective August 1 2023.
Okay, where date be?
10th July.
You see,
2023. So Monday, 10th July 2023.
I must say they have served, which means that was I won't come even before that date.
Yeah.
I mean, from the okay, you know, as a channel.
Their decision follows the non-compliance of government to implement the National Labour Commission's arbitral award orders and the negotiated conditions of service since May 2nd, 2023.
Negotiated conditions of service. Not just say any abandoned the can't transfer any was ordered. As no.
Yeah.
Ya transfer kente boom aban ba kire de ro na ho odin betimi e bia sanda emprepi no ubeko na de wo je ndi aban so de makwa enhia e bia wo mposo bia wo 20% aban se e bia me bottom ni bibia no a 10% ana bia metimatua so the negotiations ne ba when parties me enu hia na kete bo mu a twetwetwetwe na abesi ba bi so okay wo de 20 no de metimi a 12 na bia 12 na mpa na ban ja was metua from dancing. So, having done all these things with them, maybe I'm very certain, sir, after the negotiations, we were indicating when I was starting implementing.
In fact, way by Obeka January, all 46 colleges of education in
okay.
One more call strike.
Okay.
Nana conditions of service.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And yes.
Good. And fiancia until July almost say notice one. Until answer the American. And person one kind winning China minimum. No
fantastic.
And any idea make us begin one mention. I don't you see Saturday we are bambia one problem. And it's not the right thing. Utu any question there. Abambia was Saturday one problem. From past to present. Ya twenya ya bibi ansisi ya bi na bibi ase ase na fe woni edimlika ana wan yesi ne bo na fe ne na court ya kopa injunctions. I mean it doesn't help. CJ let's be a bit proactive as citizens, as people in charge of authorities.
Debiano esi ansana National Labour Commission labor laws abechichire say wan kwadwuma ye be yiwadi wan kwadwuma ebine Ministry of Education say me ntu omukayo.
Those are reactive measures. And your proactiveness and your reactive steps are buying yes you are there to serve us yentina wo and is a why we no want transisi nkonya I intend to a certain agreement there CJ so when boy be abena cross na won't implement no the rational thing to do is to communicate to them e be aban ka kire mo say oh may mu yes at ABCD but e be and my back me be say na asie ahoden ne etimi ma say na ye expect no it be etimi mfrase me no say de kan it be am ya bere communicate to them and benefit say akwara ne nsem hye enye hye na sometimes adibu a be pedin wo sun din kasa back me be ka chen don't worry that is going to buy for you in the next minute no yes e bi zuka na wonya kwa na
wadun kasa obeto
say what you say there's always 1,001 ways to kill a cat. And it's a brand new soon you no pay your negotiations and agreement no na munya hodi ni mpo financially communicate to them. Don't wait to always the last thing happens before you come in and start applying laws that you knew say I mean what you were doing was also wrong. And what I mean that is my position anyway but
and a payment Prince obeying him SITAC for president no maybe say no question say who say in fact trim so even as at last Friday na omo members no kasa say na be ya and next Tuesday ombekwadwuma until Friday no kra no na enka omo minister were meeting in person face to face meeting but na mreni nti omo share omo head office wo Kumase until omo throw letter ema minister say akoma omo nya meeting no online. So be our members no fi other colleges of education in Amutimi physical no betimi take part. Sir letter no manya response. Any say nra juada Katawi ebaye fiada no
and no fiada asem
and then nansa fiada last week Friday
I know letter sell it and the ministry okay you see me my ministry pen there I mean say e bimpa na minister na cited that letter on that Friday so Friday na dia okay, it's possible to be a minister and go outside later on the Friday. because I'm prepping the many who can having worked in the minister's office before. No, let us say buy in a day. No, CJ, you have no idea. It's most of the time that day the politics now I want to be receiving. When you want that same day, it be another idea buy. No, obey what man ramp be obey what like another idea and second. Sorry, obey what might be an hour. Because and yet I mean numerous letters comes to the ministry or to the minister. It is a Friday and a coin and that was said a word to a young quadmadia. Na enrage wada and nebna. Then I wish or I let me just presume say I do you might have seen or when let him pa a be an open letter to be and run as okay. And you know
it's possible.
I wanted the
it's possible.
I mean I need to pardon the minister say it's like a quantum dia I would have blamed him.
Okay.
But having seen Sebi on Friday and a quiet day, let's give him that.
And then there was another issue as Honorable Honum on who has the power to freeze salary. Maybe Sir Prince, not say. Some minister no to me order.
Send your employer. I mean your employer has the right to do that.
In this case, the employer
is the government.
He feels that National Labour Commission per Labour Act, no Labour law, no, and they work right. So because so this group of people may into Omaka, but coming from the minister, they feel.
I mean, Labour Commission can only make a recommendation to government to implement the decision. Because Labour Commission, you're not forward money to your you are paid by your employer. This is one of our money.
And in this case, the Ministry of Education.
Moreover, your salary doesn't come through your
Labour Commission.
Commission, exactly. And that it comes through another angle of government, which is the accountant general.
Controller.
I know.
That way is addressed to the controller.
Correct. You see it. So, you know, education ministry now one because on also drink and the controller and accountant general should not do what? Pay your salary with one.
Yeah.
So that's that. But you know, CJ, Mpensenpensenmu say abanje to mo say one say ekuya ekomasemi adi nkita ho bi eye January February wo ba bi ba be pum na dia. And as they rightly indicated that is a year okay, you know, they have gone into some kind of negotiations. And CJ, from my experience as a lawyer, no, once you go into negotiations, you always end that negotiation with some kind of agreement. Say you be share to agree no. Agency and say poor yes ni ABCD na ABC from maybe undersing. Agency amusi and this. Once you expect them to perform their functions, once you are mandated by a certain agreement or certain laws to do something, once you are and come and compel me to do mine when you are failing to do yours. It is wrong. It is wrong.
Adom 106.3 FM lawyer Chumberima and yet Nenkano honorable.
CJ.
My member Hona this issue. SITAC strike and the current situation I say you hold on and I freeze on August salary. Honorable.
CJ, my main for Akunya when na menchia yeti for na menchia my constituents the good people of Ablukuma Central constituency. This is party for our constituency, you know, from the polling station to the constituency executives, electoral area coordinators, council of elders and patrons, and the entire constituency. Mechia Obia. My main for Akunya when so na main congratulate me moderator elect Reverend Dr. Abraham Oparekwachi last week and your General Assembly BTF and your call no as a new moderator of the Presbyterian Church of Ghana. And Papa, I wish you well in your 6 years as a moderator. No, we believe strongly, sir, there's going to be a lot of transformation in the Presbyterian Church. Having worked with you for some years when you were the youth coordinator and I was also a youth executive, no, meaning what he's capable of doing. And I believe strongly, sir, most of the youth in the church, everybody was so happy to have him as our new moderator. So I congratulated him. And also, outgoing moderator, Joy Mante, and also Abebo Ejuma. So I wish him also well. CJ, Obia Enuha Ejuma, there's no Ejuma for service if their condition of service they'll be happy. I remember it had already been once. Amate say doctors ewo Kolebu echo strike, not because of their salary, not because of your friend is saying say omupe increment, not because of anything that will be benefiting them, but rather no na omu here equipment omu de be ye juma ewo Kolebu Teaching Hospital. So because of those things are any huntino, they decided to go on strike. Say yes, utia ye kadie. Nyehwe as doctors no yen from the odemaye. But omuntie ye wo ejuma hemu no a bed any ho.
Akadia ye de be ejuma no
any ho. So enu so de ye den ye tu hu anamo. And for me, I think say it is not all the time we will look at ejuma uye no ehun fa so unya. But there's also so say ejuma na me ye no so aho akande be na me de den me ye ejuma no. From what you just read, it means College of Education teachers no. They are omupe bibi efi aban ho. E dey omupe akutia intumu. And now omupe conditional service se na be omu be hin. And in recent time, no, most of the friends aban ejuma obi are raising concern about the condition of service ewo de ejuma mu, because looking at senior or minor across the say inflation no akoso and all those things. So obi feel so when you increase my salary, it will also help me. So for me, I think that it is a right call. It is their responsibility. Say bibi their institution now, they have every right to talk about it. They have every right to ask government, because una wa from ejumamu. It is one from ejumamu na market nya. In fact, even with private, your friend is saying organizations scrap no, they also demand for increment of your friend is saying of their salary. So I think that it is their right. But you see, sometimes no engagement is very important. Say menu eko your friend is saying in Kitangudie,
yes,
and we come into compromise, and you decided to ignore the decision that we are taking a hanker for.
Yes.
The point they say, this issue at Labor Commission, from what you just read, meaning that there has been a decision taken at Labor Commission.
Yes.
What was the decision they take here? The increments are more penal, as government agreed, because say who call Labor Commission now sema they have Labor Commission for ewo. Your fair wages and salary structure for so ewo. They also have finance for, because at the end of the day, whatever Labor Commission for be can who asem no, and answer o main immediate no, it stops at the president, your friends, the finance ministry or the government, because on to be called immediate mame can change okay you mate musu pay 5,000 be mamu. At the end of the day, who now be say and you no be here. Buying any to the finance ministry na heading a bit here. So government also need to look at it and say yes, I agree with your friend is saying the increment that you are talking about, but will I get that money? So we first need to know, sir, what was the your friend is saying near far away by Muko Labor Commission no so no free mobile. And when the government decided to start, if government has agreed, say omema increment that ben aban no esha aya mo adwin say omeden ometuauka, we need to know that, because you cannot just jump into conclusion say Minister for Education say what trauma controller yen freezy or salary, which for that one personally I think it is too harsh on that. The point of call is say when Omoko Labor Commission, what was the decision? The Labor Commission, any finance ministry for I agree say increment no amamwana I debi. Okay, say amamwa I increase edi amamu 20%. When is the 20% taking effect? Is it in the month of August, or in the month of September, or in the month of October? We need to know, because until say ubehu sadie no, it will be extremely difficult, extremely, to tell you say abaya jatuma na sa abaya de engine to me.
Yeah.
But you see, CJ, say a school echo strike, and as a teachers for echo strike in the various schools, it affects the students and also omo mu be di echiraba. Let's pre-assume for almost 1 month in some muncha there.
Yeah.
So students in now
yeah.
So when they come back, let's pre-assume they are coming back this month. Because say and what you we busum new.
Yeah.
Nyanka kwa na busum new na etia kanamboa.
Oh, prophet.
It affects the academic calendar. Because some 1 month from it might be that they will be vacating in September. So if say 1 month, that means someone show exams here. So they have to go back in September and go and write their exams. So and yes, in September, I say October, I say December, 1 month of lecture, no, as I say already, you have to go back. So even if you have to start lectures at 6, now you're going to start at 4 because, as I said, the Amasheno, Musa Eden, Musa Eden, Eka. 2, it also affects the students when it comes to their national service. Because, say, next month, they are going to start national service. So, to me, NVA exams. You cannot be part of a more burden on service, no. So, meaning that, more catchy, that. Your friend is saying that score. It also affects the timetable of the school. Not only more your friend is saying final year, but it will start even from first year, including those who have even applied. So it also affects them. So it is something that I believe strongly say as a matter of urgency. The Ministry of Education, the Labour Commission, any your friend is saying training teachers no CTAC no.
Yeah.
It is a matter of I mean they should need to meet as soon as possible to resolve the issue because I don't think say Labour Commission no ebetumi aka catch so between September ya mwaba betra se ya ka asem ya no na ya ka say ebia your friend is saying munji musika na munkoko ejuma. Then the last thing you raise an issue of say they wrote to the ministry, say they want to meet the Minister of Education.
In fact, the ministry agreed. I have that letter here because CTAC members need I want to read out that letter.
Okay.
Now, this letter is dated 18th August 2023. 18th Friday, no?
Last week Friday.
Last week Friday.
Yes.
Okay. And addressed to the president, CTAC Kumasi, invitation to a meeting. So this letter is from the minister. To CTAC, say Asia meeting, but okay. I write at the instance of the Honorable Minister for Education to cordially invite the leadership of CTAC to a meeting to discuss the implementation of the arbitral award by the National Labour Commission to your union. Date Monday, 21st August 2023. Enra. Venue Ministers Conference Room. Time 10 a.m. Your attendance at this meeting will be highly appreciated. Thank you. Professor Yaira Jakaji, PhD, Director for Tertiary Education for the Honorable Minister. Enti Weina.
So and yes, that for net show.
Beba. Enti Weina. Sitak for no so say. Omako shemu kumase. I'm a members ni bebre. Omo konti. Say be best so free. Not maybe a College of Education in the Asabano. They propose that they meet.
Meeting.
Now in Chema Minyane say, what this our proposal and my minister the pay and what CTAC members need be what's up to say minister Nebufu ya say online saying my mom invitation some mumbrani meeting most so more my excuse some per online.
Okay.
And I say run
I get you.
Or they katano eba.
And the one my main question was 1 second. I said bro o prompt him on that statement.
Yeah.
It was you presume he said that letter.
Not clarity, no. Yeah.
I said the request to meet them was rather they were rather meeting on Friday, which was last Friday.
Yes.
It's a because say if the letter was sent on Friday, there's no
the likelihood say be a minister
rather than say the other way around say the minister no na try one more Friday. Say you want to meet them
Enra, yes.
Okay. And now one minister was another such about Bonten say he's not paying them.
Yeah.
Yeah. I heard that. Okay, so you see, in that case, then my position changes. It changes. So now, person will share me and right. Now, my reasons. Their reasons in a way is quite reasonable, because said the training colleges scattered.
Yeah.
Okay, so the old 10 regions in Impa scattered. If you are north, if you are west, if you are east, if you are one in the daddy, astronaut in the daddy, but if you want him, going to be and now one Ebesham will be a couple months and be crying. I mean, it means that they should have even come to Accra or whatever by the weekend. Because one of you know Obano, 8 mid Monday, I said maybe they are coming on flight or whatever. It is a woman can say, let's do it via Zoom or in the online medium, and they CJ. And they may remember the Nigerian Association. MBA conference I end this year, man, physically. But I'm joining by Zoom. What does it cause Abuja? Matraya, Adrian, be Amana. So just because I crashed with some days of other programs, yeah. And you know, so I mean, I don't see why the minister will say so or no from for meeting, no. Woman jam in physical, no one more request for Zoom, no, it is wrong. And I say, be no intimate, no money. I mean, for him, Grandpa, having live abroad in that, the same way I did as a contest in a very simple manner. So what does CJ? And that is a command challenging. I mean, and running every day.
Okay.
And catch it. I mean, ma on for before and reacted to this things.
Okay. Take let her now sit up for Chokoma minister no. So on meeting
online.
It's also here.
And
18th August 2023. The same day now. I'm receiving minister now. Let me read this paragraph. We would, however, be grateful if you could let us have this meeting online via Zoom. After the National Labour Commission's meeting on Wednesday, the leadership of SITAC met at our national secretariat in Kumasi to engage with other structures of the union. The invite The invite came at a time the officers were in transit returning to their respective stations, making it practically impossible
to return
for them to physically return to Accra on Monday 21st August 2023. We should therefore be glad as a matter of convenience to honor the meeting online at a time convenient to you on the same day.
I mean,
there's
nothing wrong with that. I mean, this request is just reasonable to ask. So what I say, Njanya say the way I do baby boy Adri. And I say, who here me here wo? And ya no. Who here won so here. Enti abana sana say ye mfa patapanka. But on about you. But what aroma. Abana say no ye mfa patapana e kan. Who here won so here. Enti ye mfa mo trend and nti ase nkasa na ye nyintimi nsi gina ye baako. Na we interest na hwene tim mo so interest mo hwene tim.
Honorable Ebenezer to asoma me. Now wo floor.
CJ. The
but my main character for say you know Atik one man akwa I think it's saying yeah say remember also
CJ the point is say I'm a little bit worried and surprised about the letters now Obiachocho. The ministry wrote the letter to them on the 18th. They respond to the letter on the 18th. At what time? And on Musaka on letter no. And at what time they responded to the letter? Tell us lawyer can. It might be say Educhum has not received his letter. Even if he have say I'm pastor also I received the letter media. I think say the call from your friend is saying Sita Fonoso is right call. Say Ebia, yen to me and Xiao physically. But rather, we can meet you via Zoom. So we can have a discussion.
Yes.
And the lawyer can, you know, for during the COVID, all our meetings, most of our meetings, everything was done via Zoom.
Yeah.
But maybe the minister also feels so meeting you in person, so Ebema I don't think this thing should drag both the ministry and then because I know Educhum too well, and I know him not to be a very difficult person. I know Educhum not to be somebody a friend or Mpensenpensenmu. In as man say he will say the thing just as it is. I know very well say from this response I will not be surprised. Maybe his decision that he has written to controller he will consider his decision and invite Sita Fono to have a amicable discussion and then they can move on.
That's it. Atik.
I mean,
my mama akwanya now so SITAC.
We dem zeminu anum no aka nsem ni nyina nti me foaso And Tionko, the next issue. I mean, I could some the idea I had. I mean, Juma because you want to be compensated for Juma. And there are issues of compensation and employee compensation there. I had but you can't blame them for demanding more. And our demanding says you can't say to your mom. Abansu is also in dire straits. And usually it's very important to Munina bedin kitahu na omehu the middle line. And for me, I usually don't support and encourage the idea of taking entrenched positions because issues of compensation will be there are functions of negotiations. And you can't always go to a negotiation table with entrenched position. It means you are not coming to negotiate.
Yeah.
You are coming to either impose or demand. And as Anna, usually you have a deadlock, you have a stalemate. Until either party should consider, making flexible or more positions. And we can, move forward.
Okay.
Yeah.
Medase, I think Mohammed Medase Panji. Yambra other issues are a war. Ponono so minority in parliament at the Atuja, in fact, and September 5th, and almost staged demonstration against the Bank of Ghana governor. And Dr. Enestadi says also Edin Chirimu Ebai, the Akoso Bank of Ghana honum, the losses are umumeki, and then the justification for the new Bank of Ghana head office. Yeka say Arise Ghana for also Edi Wamuho Ashe picketing no mo ebi and a permanent rexoma etuchemu and commodity. Yam boxing into one topic. Nafi Iria Yanko Electoral Commission and also matters. Lawyer, Mamisha Sim free also. Mamisha Sim free also on this one.
Okay. CJ. Mamini Kama Obi, Ubon this and then birthday.
Yeah.
I saw it. Not Obi as in Obi as Obi. Yeah.
Okay. But nonetheless.
Yeah. Happy birthday to you, Obi. She's a very nice lady.
So there's only one Obi that we know.
That you know. Okay, anyway, I clarify.
But there are only two Obis. Obi Amwa
and Obi
and there are three Obis.
Okay, there are three Obis now.
Adom Obi.
Adam's Obi.
Yeah.
No.
Asampani Kayo.
No, there's another Obi in this.
Anyway, so and the happy birthday in Commando Nyango Ponshano. Anyway, so CJ, BOG Nsem aba bebre ya born bin kumunifa etifini atoye. Atwetwe begina enema e course the year 2022 Bank of Ghana ni dwumadie mu. Na omudwumadie nim na abeto dwa se eka aba. Na kana ba ye no nima enya de ba ko na de kana ba. Enema bebre na wo mo ankasa report na SIT ye. Ebi currency depreciation o mse no nkwan about 5.27 billion old cedis. Ebi vehicle maintenance, ebi foreign travels, ebi DDEP, enu nkwan ba bebre. Na enu na mfa bebre no ado adwen asisu ka se enu mani bia mo bodi no. It sounds a bit unconscionable in the sense for instance foreign travel vehicle maintenance CJ almost the 131.6 million na year vehicle maintenance the year 2022. I don't even know how to quote that money in old cities. Car maintenance 131.6 million cedis. Okay, it doesn't make sense at some point. Omaya yesi kasam sabita frache enyina na naso. Omaya yesi kasam na nam so ntikadi akopie IMF na ye hwe se IMF obituma boya so sum kakra akram yetina gina na naso. Na se sabre na mu no ana ye kope IMF kampo nchan mo no. Sijew ye wesi sika senya. Do you think it's reasonable? Okay? Do you think it's reasonable? Again, within that same period, name where Yakopa Mwafro being crying China, yes, Yenibino. Yakopa Mwafro being China. Your central bank is spending 97.4 million on foreign and domestic travels. Eddie Anquara. CJ Edian Kwan and if I'm going to Mokoy. Nadian Kwan Mokoy Babu Gan and Tia. Mu says at the time one be idea that of mine are buying post at some point one power. I mean reckless in spending post or cutting the cost. Finance minister I know what I say. Or training maybe just a balance what it's in the number bishop. And that is the time of most more reckless spending. Now, another point ever be see a danya almost a year head office. I almost see. In the Kenya and once I'm to Jano. Almost in the by. Ninchirimu on the bar and be neko we say, oh, I never could do a more copper down for an supposed to sit down for a crown and say, baby, I'm one no dan prone to say earthquake or say whatever. I'm saying. Nasa saying as we do, say bia agitasim with the other bar, say bit of and toss more. Because baby are more than the and you won't come more than the sea as an entity. And I say be any monosono, must be any Freddy about your bank and happy. So your mentis have quick be as your madam be a boat to go. Okay, and who's dying didn't know by a yastic and as an argument can say, would dying be a motiano, earthquake bar. Be an more than a jury, and be a mama has a more cover before and some move away from there. Forgetting that behind you, commercial bank headquarters was head office. I want to see. Beside you, Supreme Court and all other courts. Is your NL for headquarters was head office, whichever way you call it. Now we're around this same enclave. Formerly, even AM crowd office, from former office, I say, one of you are back to the baby. I want to see. So all these things are surrounding you, and yet say we move BRL complain say earthquake issues was that area until we need to move them out from there. So what I say, it is what the justification about saying nothing now person question down for and that's
let me source this story from Business and Financial Times online. Bank of Ghana's new office for earthquake safety justified. The acting director general of the Ghana Geological Survey Authority, Isaac Nwembele, has provided compelling reasons for the Bank of Ghana to locate its headquarters from its present location to Ridge due to seismic concerns.
Okay.
Mr. Nwembele emphasized the need to prioritize structural safety in an earthquake-prone region during an interview with the GBC.
Okay.
And let me quote him. The recent tremor that occurred in Jamestown, which is in close proximity to the current Bank of Ghana location, serves as a wake-up call. Although we haven't seen tremors here, the risk cannot be ignored, Mr. Nwembele stated. No.
CJ.
Lawyer.
What's the internet achieved here? Yeah, get market to
Me too.
Yeah, F tremor, idea. Momodiana tremor for Accra.
Okay. Earth tremor. I just checked. Disorder that causes tremors. And okay, earth tremor.
It's basically shaking.
Yeah.
Okay.
An involuntary quivering movement.
Just shaking. So,
as a slight earthquake.
Exactly.
These are the meanings I'm getting.
Comparatively, earth tremor, earthquake, earth tremor. In simple terms, if I make some kind of secondary school geography, earthquake, earth tremor. The earth tremor on any
earthquake cannot ding.
Earthquake cannot ding. Earthquake in the three wood dang, earth tremor would dang. Tinny, earthquake in the three wood dang to go. A beautiful, a been a sea what taking. Tremor in wood dang, where was so. Kakra, it does very fun. Make my secondary school days at the opening. ABC. After more back a crowd with the land as a land, I was in Kakra, the chum coin some seconds, been a call. A best thing. And you know, dying too. But so one more justification put near the then in your own country by and say, all those complexes now one arm me boarding and in our buying institutions, then we should move them from there. Because after more about and can be your jip. Sige, and can be your jip. A back come more assassinating now. They are all in a way less than 100 meters enclave. Supreme Court. Even the Court of Appeal, no minister, the same enclave. Circuit course, no minister, High Court complex, and see when new one the musi esiwo. All those buildings around the commercial bank for head office, and because they're right behind BOJimpo. And the any was so many you woman free. Not even your quantum because go central market and because one square few. To Rollins Park. And this was a few meters away from them. Because the trauma will not just happen at the Bank of Ghana building and leave them alone. Say if it is that dangerous, they are. Justification now by my sister and Tassomo. I'm telling you. And Tassomo still. You can write to support them. I don't have any problem. Because we're your area. But the American said, after more Nadia, a young who said, a dime be at this, I was a move a few. No, it's not true. Check me any difference, never already. Look at the difference between earthquake and then after more. Which one is more severe? I was you qualify for such kind of recommendations. And sister, but what do you look at to Jazzy? One more document, one paper and raw with the Bible thing. One more can send baby for 1990. Saying the 90s in Muno Musi, I saw some new head office in one wine, and would be by 2012. Woman allocation, being allocation, you can Minister of Foreign Affairs, one fat and farm, and an inti, and at Quadaye, and one. So now, 2019, Tinu, December 18, 2019, a decision be taken a signal, yes, say, afraid yet, you initiating all proper process for the development of a new corporate head office or for the headquarters. 2019 December. Na for the decide is afraid if na dey create the ayani 51 hwan nyina enye ye na yentu anamu bia na afraid ye starting nyina afoforo. Akopa dan foforo de asiwo. Ti sabrem no na fe won start ye. Ana ne won boko afei won beduru say okay. Then won mo twino krata akoma PPA. Say one person we tender na so be tender man for den krata ba number kire ahode omo botumi ade si edan a wo mo pe no ede ma wo mo na fe wo nam so ebe mo contract na so wo fankosi company ko ombe yi mo no o nam so ma mo kwan se mo kunkosi asije wo mo nam so e ko pesa ade no wo mo si wo mo use o kan wo letter under approvals na one of the paragraphs will say the PPA by this letter dated 29th of January 2020 convey a board approval to Bank of Ghana. And this approval to use the shortlisted contractors. No, one more they can shortlist say 5 contractors. One more say 5 contractors not to do for restricted tender. But no, not what could be who said the number and for restricted tender. But will be section 38 of the BPA Act.
I'm aware.
No, you were bra. You use restricted tender.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm telling you. That animal no section 38 ABC ni na list actually one. Emu bia nu why just for na wo adum go asere won. Won try let any kwa no say PPA for no won de akoma won try amount of so use no. PPA won ka so use 100 million 857,942.48 dollars. And no person use na PPA for no share of minimum nyina wie no mo te so say wo mo fa 81 million and 81 million 888 nenkosi edan no CJ na mo de say without just any justification hwade say PPA for na te o musika no so na say dan ebo no wo mo so mo di kwese ni PPA for na te so but wo ma justification bia kire de nti o mo te so na mo o ka so we should go o by receive tender no what justification did you give? When you decided to go by receive tender, did you give any justification to your position? There are justifications to that. Did you cite any of them to buttress the entire also by that? Once at Mobiara, but also will be active who complain about that. Then you reckon say one more. Me found the very last part.
So that's fair, mama.
The last part of it was it key design considerations. Was it the Central Tender Review Committee subsequently granted a concurrent approval for a revised scope of work at a cost of whatever $2,068 per meter square from on the 17th of January. And how do you know? I'm found called let be yes our committee now body action them out. Let us well our committee committee letter now say the committee reviews the Bank of Ghana's variations request at the 17th emergency sitting on Thursday 29th of December 2022. In a letter dated 30th of December 2022, the committee communicated concerns to BOG, which was responded to in a letter dated 5th of January 2022. Following a review of the response, the committee noted that the issues raised remained unsatisfactorily addressed. Now there's a name of a committee ni can want something about Ghana.
And see,
woman we young the bra woman. I'm yanu yen and some of catch on Asia.
Yeah.
And Tasmo Papa. No talk the cancer was saying. The BOG accordingly invited, and BOG was accordingly invited to a clarification meeting and was subsequently requested to submit the original contract documents, design proposals, differences in scope of work, and other relevant documentations on the project to facilitate the review of the request. At the 21st emergency meeting on Tuesday, 17th of January 2023, the committee reviewed the documentation submitted by BOG and noted the following. 1. Inadequate project design conceptions and preparations on original contract. That is number 1. Number 2, entirely new scope of design for the revised project. Now they said the only kind of come on now they have gone to change the whole thing. Committee who yes, so they were prompting them. Number 3 was say revised scope of work has already commenced prior to seeking approval from the Central Tender Review Committee, which shouldn't be the case.
But the governor says they followed all the necessary public procurement processes in this.
Let oh, permit myself to make for them on our and I'm reading from the way letter. Okay, so who was you follow ya? They are telling you that you might be saying and then first, even before they even raise this, they are telling you say and no concerns raise it before you even came to them. No, you couldn't even address all the concerns. Oh, Pantama going. CJ, yeah, Pantama going for 2020-2022. As some of your Saban as you consider, CJ. Sabranusine Braga said December 2022. Yam Namoyed. Sabran, IMF no one for blocking from the international market scene to Kobe. Sabran Nabania Brepe IMF deal. Banks one iska. But Sabranusine Musman Yabre Passam Kotusika. Okay. Sabranusine and Musman Yabre some Mokotus Gatu. Meanwhile, 2019, I must say, as I for the money, Abraham Cosidano. I'm already February 2020. We decided December 2019. February 2020, World Bank won a Ghana said, year was our best and Yabon was a man, but done a debt distressed country very soon if you don't borrow it. Lawyer, CJ, Minimum Kafra, Sifaman. That same 2020 name, na COVID, about in March. Ghana the first case around first week of March.
12 March.
12 March, thank you. So second week of March, and then the name Aban would say no my fedu na Aban kro here sika from Monchan. Wo hwe instructions the man Aban sika don COVID time bi wojimu kan. Office habra ni bra yi say gina. Why didn't you some amula tatimi aka say sa gina say na ho from 1990s na se ya nya da sigi ya nya da. A bra Ghana akwa hunhia mu sa bra ni bra ko tidan.
La Chumberma Mamenda wase. I think
that's it.
Mamembra wana fi ni ko honorable Ebenezer.
Me that's it. Lady kind I'm sure T4 nyina.
T4 Joso.
Na I mean Shasia enkase issue ibae ye nyina ye kebi. And ye kan at the time na ye try adwin we did not have the full complement of information in nyina. And sometimes it is normal say only information in nyina you express opinions based on either with him. Now, say information for ba. I think that it is only proper say you revise your position.
Your opinion, yes.
What must say?
Yes.
And the Nyameke is a revised position, if you wish, and it's different from earlier position. Na me ekita, and it is in the light of the new information apano. Na niedi kind. The Bank of Ghana has incurred some losses. And in Chemuna Eba na and Twasumuna in Shadan Sisisuye. And you know the Bank of Ghana did not help itself very much with the kind of communication now on Wankasa Edika in Deba, But I think the latest press conference by the governor no Achichi Muyi Amanuma Dedi. And if you care to read or more statement now, Obeti Nema Biasi na kanino unshada NTRC. He spoke about the fact that currency depreciation accounted for or it's one of the reasons Omuka said they incurred the losses they did. They also spoke about the fact that they also had to absorb some 50% haircut on their non-marketable bonds. When issues are as the reasons for the kinds of losses they incurred. And I've always made the point, say, we need to deal with this phenomenon of fiscal dominance. Yet now finance ministry pressure by the central government is always invited to make some intervention one way or the other. And in the past, fiscal dominance used to take the form of using, the central bank securities to raise revenue to finance government budgets. But this year, say Ministry of Finance and a buying or how be it was required to say the central bank would have to also take some shockers. The losses are central bank incur no buy. But near me, at the beginning, I was alarmed. Then I'm saying, hey, this is the first time BBC. But Omar Mayati said no. The central bank has always had issues and has experienced negative equity positions. And yet, AC, but they've had that experience before. And yet once. And indeed, the latest even between 2017 and 2018, they had experience, when they were doing sector cleanup, and a financial sector cleanup, And structural adjustment program, when we were undergoing program, the central bank experienced similar situations. When a show say Ghana and Kasano, your economy is not resilient enough to shocks. Anytime we have a major shock like pandemic, our economy tends to suffer a lot. Until when say, and look, if the central bank did not have the kinds of buffers me sure say anka ene aminu tiha ye kasi anka yetiha. Because echo 2 amama bebre without the kinds of buffers now central bank they ended up in coups and chaos in for Sri Lanka, for example. Almost central bank could not even intervene to help Abine to reshape Nyama and to help the Ministry of Finance out. What he has said. But at least the central bank was in a position to help. But I have always made the point that the central bank should not be the one cleaning up the mess of the Ministry of Finance. But they had to make a decision. They had to make a judgment call. Yentina Fako, Nayanka say, where the Ministry of Finance and manage the fiscal side of our economic policy. But they should deal with it. Our public debt is rising. Today are supposed to deal with it, even when they do not have the capacity. We needed some, policy reforms as a basis to get some injections from the IMF. And there are some preconditions you need. There are some conditions President will satisfy. One of it was to be able to reduce your debt ratio and your debt to GDP ratio to a certain reasonable threshold. And the projection was that it should be brought down to 55% by 2028. And the cover DDP and a punk hekasa yedi man crofi nyina ba no. But the Minister of Finance still couldn't meet that threshold. Until something had to be done. And Central Bank they buy, government bonds almost to. Until if everybody is taking a haircut, it was recommended, say, look, Central Bank needs to make an intervention. And Omuno Act, that sets up the Bank of Ghana, to me to intervene in emergency situations. And if you read section 30, subsection 6, it shows the conditions in emergency situations, what they are supposed to do. Say, Omoni Minister of Finance, any, controller, and so on, Edin Kitahon, to set a certain limit. Now, Oma take a decision to make an intervention. But the other, they took a 50% haircut on their non-marketable bonds. And look, Omukano, Ekosrono. And currency depreciation. Look, I've always made the point, say, anytime your currency loses value, and once in also, near the kind, what him say, exchange rate depreciation has an effect on inflation. You have very pass-through effect of currency depreciation on inflation. And they say, Newman and Ghana, unfortunately, is an import-dependent economy. Until your crown, you may free amon niba. Newman, ton, and our currency is your friend. Like when they say your currency is not convertible, it means you can't spend it beyond your jurisdiction.
Yeah.
Even though in principle, according to ECOWAS, the West African Monetary Zone, yes, see, we can spend yen currency, amongst ourselves, the 8 countries making up the West Africa Monetary Zone. Minka Uema group, like yen, largely English speaking, and the other as a Portuguese speaking countries. No, yes, see, yen, yes, can make me the Ghana cities are called Nigeria. That is in principle, but would the Ghana cities called Nigeria na koshadi? And our currency is not convertible. And the answer no betonima. You need a vehicle currency and now what they call a third-party currency. It's so $1. What is here? And so currency elusive value. No in terms of your local currency. No, in terms of can with $2 and the exchange rate was 1 cedi, which would mean say that was 2 cedis. Now, if your currency loses value, let's say 1 cedi is exchanging. $1 is exchanging for like 4 cedis. Say 8 cedis, no.
Yeah.
Until the bar. No one be kosoro. Nti exchange rate there affect you bia. And I took the time to explain the fact say your currency we borrow in other currencies, especially your external debt mostly is either dollar denominated and euro denominated. What must say? And this kind of bar na ye betua. Ye mfacilities nkotua o. Ese ti bibia se ye ko bobisi and bar our external debt is not serviced in Ghana cedis. Apart from domestic bonds that we float in cities, most of the debt instruments we float, they are dollar denominated. Until kotua, sebi, yemfa cities kotua. So you have to do an adjustment. You have to do a calculation. Say you kotua $100,000, for example. The equivalence in Ghana cities by saying. And that is what the Bank of Ghana reports to us.
Yeah.
Because the legal tender in Ghana is cities. What you say? So the equivalence of the amount of money omudi kotua saying. Until once your currency loses value, you should expect say sikana bekwa kotua ebekosuru. Look, part of our debt is sometimes part of the reason your public debt due to currency depreciation. Because as your currency loses value, your debt servicing your debt servicing cost so ekosuru. And this is almost say depreciation. And mind you, they buy some of omunium in dollars. For example, the Bloomberg and Reuters platforms are omu currency trading. Then are paid for in dollars. And can you say would you $200,000? At the time the currency was like 6 cedis to $1. That would be like 1.2 million Ghana cedis. What is here?
Yeah.
And in that says here I didn't know I could do 10 cedis. If at some point I was trading for about 15 cedis. So imagine something you were paying for. You were paying $200,000 for at a rate of 6 cedis. Says I didn't more than 100% increase. What do you think the effect is going to be? Almost kano bekosoro. And this is not something you plan, like you anticipate. Say we expect the currency to depreciate this much. The always forecast said there will be depreciation, but sometimes depreciation. I share the view that currency depreciation is a function of fiscal policy.
Yeah.
So Minister of Finance and to amuniyoma year, na currency etisimo. There's very little the Bank of Ghana can do, even though they have a role to play. In some jurisdictions, currency and exchange rate targeting is what they do instead of inflation. But there is very little they can do. It's both a function of monetary and fiscal policy, but I would say largely fiscal policy. It is a Minister of Finance and to amuniyoma year na your currency no start depreciate here. Yeah, first one central bank say, say you should. They can't keep their responsibility is price stability. And they say inflation kosra obetimi abo musubo. Say why are you not working hard to bring down inflation? It's a valid point. What is here? But exchange rate there, they have a role to play because if we have higher reserves and so on and so but the case Minister of Finance.
What's your position?
My position is exchange rate they are using like they are saying that it's part of the reason I didn't cause and you cannot say they ought to have controlled exchange rate. They can't. And their cost is a reasonable explanation. And another issue soon is overdraft. Are buying and I'm referring to government. Central Bank has, as per the Act, they have the mandate to do overdraft to government and to extend overdraft, to government. But between when we were in good years, from 2019, the bank has been very profitable from 2019, 2020, and even from 2017, crisis they started experiencing issues. And Enukrano even started from 2022. What must I say? But all these years, even when we were in crisis in 2020, they recorded profits. What must I say? And within that period, there was zero financing to the Ministry of Finance. No moon lend or moon fasika emma you can say Ministry of Finance to finance their budget. But when crisis no buy, they was, like I said, they had a choice. They had to make a judgment call. Yentina fakuna bibi answer na nyina ye hunchire ana yenye intervention bi. So they took a decision, say we'll make an intervention. And even during COVID they bought COVID bonds na buying Eton. The central bank bought some. What you say? Yeah. And beyond and I've made the point, say central bank, Minister of Finance could have managed our resources during the COVID even better. But Ambanasa, until we were in a crisis situation, and the central bank had the call to make Yembua and I say Yentina Fako.
Where resources means,
How do you mean? Minister of Finance, they made money. From World Bank, and like I said, even the central bank bought some of their bonds to give them money. Until Sika the Omunyebi. What you must say? For COVID. And I'm saying, sir, Minister of Finance could have done a much better job, in my view, managing our resources.
Because then our resources in there for him.
And it's a valid question to ask.
What are resources in there for him?
And exactly, and it's a question for Minister of Finance to answer. What you must say? But the way I know pen and crisis by. And like I said, the central bank had to make a judgment call. The international BBA and say na yonko drew Sri Lanka Mpensenpensenmu and now say we had to make a decision. And now I've heard people say overdraft they be every year be no mumasik or mu discount central bank exceeding the 5% limit. No, but then look, they've done only for 2 years, 2021, 2022. But this is not the first time a central bank I extended Sasikano and I financed the Ministry of Finance from 2012 all the way to 2015. Now,
2016 they did nothing.
I mean, 15,
15, yes.
2015 until for 3 years running, no mubwa, and because at the time the government felt said now you were challenges more. And they needed support from the central bank.
But the governor thinks that even around that time, there was no pandemic, there was no global...
But it's not that he thinks. What did you have a pandemic?
Well...
You did not. And he said, yeah. It is only justified. It is only reasonable, say. You drew Mpensenpensenmu. You to me say the country was in crisis.
I think me submission, you feel the explanation given by the Bank of Ghana.
The new information on they about to justify the media
Fuaso.
Yes, and if you care to read. Almost statement, no. And let me
there's a portion of the speech, right. the statement, the number 15. Yeah. That's a whole statement. Paragraph 15. Ladies and gentlemen, in all these, the Bank of Ghana has acted within the applicable laws. It is not true that the Bank of Ghana has been providing financing for the government every year. There has been zero financing in 2017, 2018, and 2019 and 2021. Yes. The Bank of Ghana has only had to support in the pandemic year of 2020 and the crisis year of 2022.
Yes.
The Bank of Ghana Act 612, as amended, limits financing of government to 5% of previous year's tax revenue. This provision in the law has been adhered to since I took office in April 2017. Between 2017 and 2019, in addition to the requirements of the Bank of Ghana Act 612, as amended, the bank signed a memorandum of understanding with Ministry of Finance to even impose a tighter restriction of zero central bank financing, and this was observed strictly, even though MOUs are not legally binding. Between 2012 and 2015, the Bank of Ghana provided overdrafts to finance government and Cocoa Board every year, and there was neither a pandemic nor a global economic crisis. So paragraph 15.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What's my say? Until the narrative that is making the rounds, almost every year, almost is kama Minister of Finance. And almost they've done that only twice.
Okay.
Within the 10-year Bank of Ghana Governor Albert Naso. And Neo Pachan said, you see, the law allows you to even give to give them money not exceeding 5% of your previous year's revenue, tax revenue. But Omu Pachan said, Omu Krano, even though the law allows them, they were not even doing it. They were doing zero financing.
Yeah.
What I say?
Yeah.
The only times are Omu where the two periods now okay 2020 and 2022 but mamimfa Dino Nsem no emfa wi
now time now so
wait there wadarma just 2 minutes
but
my time there is so I don't know if some extent because issues no
your point 10:30 you are away.
Okay, right. All right.
Yeah.
And
we have other issues. We have other issues to talk about. Yeah.
But
we have the Electoral Commission registration exercise.
Maminka we no
Briefly.
Dino. And let me just, I noted if I need to he spoke about maintenance. And if you care to listen to the central bank, almost see maintenance, the item, the budget line heading, is misleading. It should not be called maintenance because 94% of such item goes into fuel. And the maintenance is just 2.4%. That is vehicle repairs. It's just 2.4%
fuel for
the currency movement and all other fleet, including cars like officers of the bank, air driving, fuel. What was that?
And that amounts to how much?
131.
You see the entire. You see when you break it down to fuel, there's no breakdown of this is how much. But if you calculate 94% of 131 million, you should know how much that goes into fuel. Repairs is just 2.4%. Insurance until the argument that the heading is misleading. Who can maintenance?
Who created the heading?
No. You see, that is the difficulty. If you are working in an organization, this is the job of an accountant. These are economists. An accountant decides to say, okay, I'm giving this budget item, this expenditure item, the title maintenance. Very near about repairs. Meanwhile, repairs is just 2.4% of that. And it is very misleading.
Okay.
Now, me was talking about and media. I had similar concerns. Na dear na danya yes there are cracks. You see the building is experiencing cracks. They did structural integrity audit. And it was not just the bank They outsourced it to an independent third party to do and to do the audit. And they came back with the recommendations the structural integrity of the audit of the building is becoming problematic. Until ebe here say ombe pebi fufro that will guarantee some safety. And this is we are making it look as if our conversation began only under the tenure of these governors.
Of course.
It did not. It did not. That conversation did not start. It started in the 2012. 2012. Muko asasi ADC Diama Central Bank. They went to Rich. They went to airport residential area. And you see,
and then what happened?
No, you see,
and then what happened?
One of the person they even approached even for the land for him was Kisley Wadaku.
You see,
and then what happened?
What happened was that all the lands they were trying to buy, no issues were home.
Yes.
When Musuba they had similar issues, but they gave them 5.19 acre land from Lands Commission. The Edimaumo Sena land belonged to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and Meba. You see, we are not technical people. To say the technical, the structural integrity audit you have no such technical mind to speak to that. Geological survey between which institution and which organization is better fit to speak to the structural integrity of buildings in this country beyond geological survey. About tremors, earthquakes, exactly. Yeah. And what have they said? Omuni third party entity na structural integrity audit no. And it is in sync with all the previous discussions they've had since 1990. 2012, when an is war. And I want us to, divorce politics from this. 2012, Bank of Ghana governor, Wampa. And Nashuru, it was Wampa and later Nashuru, Dr. Nashuru. Omunyi to said there is the need for a new building. But one was new building. It's very interesting. The conversation about variation of cost. And that's what I'm saying, sir. Like on the surface and on the face of it, 1, 2, and find further and better particulars. I bet you say, something went amiss. Meanwhile, see, section 38 of the Public Procurement Act. As amended, I think now is section 41. The conditions under which you are entitled to use restricted tendering. As for restricted tendering, it's just a way. It's a method of procurement. The first part of it, and with your permission, I'd like to. Okay, let me just read the first part.
Sure.
It says that, apart from the preamble, the next one, A. When you read now, it will be 42A, I guess. If by reason of the highly TNU, and it's not for nothing, and it's in italics. If by reason of the highly complex and specialized nature, goods, works, or services are available only from a limited number of suppliers or contractors. TNA, Bank of Ghana. Look at, and yeah, it's not just sabi, an ordinary building. Building number, it will contain vaults where they'll be printing their currencies and so on and so forth.
They don't print currencies in this country.
Oh, who told you? There are local contractors who you see, that's the thing. People think their currencies are printed only abroad. Now they do printing of currency in Ghana. And it is through restricted tendering. What else here? It is done through, because you can't allow anybody and everybody to come and tender. Because you would have to give them specifications here. Nipanen we need bid no krana, you would have known the specifications. Would he print to currency? Building na yekano. Now they know vote in their hanebeba, where their hanebeba. Nipanen we need bid no krana. What do you think is going to happen? Well, Sebi Ujim Papa now Ujim Bonnie, and the person decides to sell the designs to Obia or Peso Digana Bonnie. What do you think is going to happen? And it is complex, and it is not just like some ordinary procurement obetimaye. And the variation in cost issue, there is no such thing. Almost say Omo Ankasano, when they did Omo internal, evaluations, they decided to say, okay, their technical team, it might come up to 100 million, US dollars.
Okay.
And somebody call PPA. And Omokono, they indicated why, the amount was this because of the things they wanted to include. PPA slashed it to 81 million without telling them, when we went in a slash. But when they eventually gave approval and they did the tendering, the lowest tender, you see, the number of tenders, they were like 6. The company with the lowest tender was 121 million na Until Bank of Ghana and they can say, we are building it at 121 million, and it later varied. But almost 121 million and the revised drawings the contractor says, look, with the new and revised drawings, we can't do it at this amount. And when Niama revision the buy, initially they gave them, it says, 6-acre land. What is here? And obviously, look, see, building Nunkwana, Niakan the bedding. So, and again, when they went to seek, Unim said, Westridge, and it's on the flight path, until you need to get civil aviation clearance. They wanted to do 25 story. Civil aviation catch said, no, it's too high. Until the highest you can go is 20. Until if you are reducing your building by 5 stories, which means the office is by 5 stories, NSA so the remainder of the land, SODABB, until 5 would have gone on another part of the land. Okay. And obviously it's a 5 there, 12 prequel. Then we can have an auditorium, like some banking hall, like separate from the central bank, no? Banking hall for specialized banking and so on and so forth. And when you are
okay,
and I didn't cost, no, it is not the variation by the
I think
bank itself.
Me samba hobi Atik Mohammed na yete nkano.
It makes us rush through.
Honorable
CJ, the issue of Bank of Ghana. Say, where do we get all these issues? No, every buy, a buy from the Auditor General report, and I'm a boy. And I say, Bank of Ghana, sika krabia, ye di Ghana ye sika ne ye judie nyina de ekohonum, and I say almost store my no, e kase no mabo, and it's unusual. Say BBC beden etumi eden esi. But the point they say, sometimes no, my friends from the other side, the minority, and as the NDC4, try to throw dust into the eyes of people. Now I look it to say, as if say, be boni be then ekosum. Yes. If Bank of Ghana per se the BBC, would they give all their facts and all the informations to the Auditor General to come out with a reporter? Ebeka so Moboka says 60 something billion Ghana cedis ana. But the picture is being painted out there, say Omabo Kronubi, Omaye way. But yes, Metumiaka say some of this propaganda in Yama Ekosono. I also blame the Bank of Ghana to some large extent. The reason is say Usha and a press conference addressed by the governor, and the way of far the issue one after the other, address it, get into the understanding of it. Then I come into conclusion say, then their first press your friends statement on the bar Bonteno was not even correct. The reason is say Usha the way and manner Bank of Ghana in seminano bakun to our understanding of it. And you look at the first thing the Omudi Barbontain in respect of the issue of even a diner, then I can tell you, say, the mistakes of all this propaganda no came from the Bank of Ghana. Why am I saying this? And now, when the governor was addressing the people, of the issue of Sika, the minority, Asomo Muka Nsem so Yacha Yediama Abain. And then he came out to say, look, yes, yen to me, yen deny say Yiska say Ediama Abain. But Yiska no Emabain, this instance in Moe Komu. And he raised issues, I see, even in respect of all these things. Abain you my for Yetiomuka. Or say, in respect of all this, we're not even queuing for fuel. In respect of this pandemic, no, we're not even queuing for food. But government were providing all these amenities, no, and the money in call for. Compared to other countries, we all went into the same situation, no, and the way they find themselves. CJ, we cannot compare ourselves to that of America, neither Germany or Italy or UK. But let's say who say managing our COVID situation and the way and manner yet to be providing Nyama Edima Ghanaians. I'm talking about fuel, I'm talking about food items and all those things. Compared to this country, Sasebi, yet to be called crying Yaman free honor them, Ediba and Chrome, the system they went through. But we come and paint a different picture. And now that is why. And no, honestly, when I listened to Addison, then I remembered your friend is saying Alexander Kwamina Afenyo Markins, when he was making his last submission on the floor of Parliament, sorry. And we're talking about government media budgets. No, besides, hey, Ato. Meanwhile, you have been in the same seat. You have been a board member at the Bank of Ghana. You have been a deputy minister of finance. You know the in and out of the Bank of Ghana for Ejuma, any finance for Ejuma. But today, your people are saying, say, oh, your predecessors are not performing. So come and be in a seat. So you come and paint the picture as if, say, it is not all well with the Bank of Ghana. But CJ, you see, the Biameka say the Bibia ebe politics will not get to the root of issues and deal with it. Only him say, if I've not been a minority in someone kikaya, would the Bank of Ghana come out and outline what happened during the administration? Would they come and tell us, since 2012, no, we just the bomb. No, would they come out to say it? They will not. But because the minority are throwing dust into the eyes of people and doing as if say Bank of Ghana for they have no option than to come out and let Ghanaians know, say, this is how the procedure is, and we have never and ever gone against the procedure. CJ, we come to Bank of Ghana a dime, and I had even Ohinebi Ekase Onukano Sanka was that opportunity. Obebubu Dino. Obebubu. Yes, I agree with that. I take. Say, if many experts, yes, I'm into construction, but their level of constructions are Only said there are some offices be or who be for say G office way 100,000 Ghana cedis and 20,000 cedis. In some offices, they calculate per square meter.
In fact, building ways are no more.
Yeah.
They calculate per square meter.
Central Tender Review Committee.
$2,000.
Yeah.
But only say Cal Bank, Omodian is 3,000.
Cal Bank for more office building.
Yes, it was built at $3,000 per square meter. Until Central Tender Review Committee. Almost see unit cost wise is very competitive in the market because they were looking at other bank buildings.
But how many Ghanaians and a name say in such huge buildings? No, people almost charge it and also almost rent it based on square meters. Their only man is on Mikoji office and I'm a boy. No, but in some places they calculate with square meters. And just as I think give the explanation. You per se say, and you see, it is not only that place a dying to be in Kosoro. From airport, because of the airport, from airport to read this some of these areas, no, you can't go to. Let me give you one example. On Lands Commission. In fact, I was on the board. I was the vice chairman of the committee. Lands Commission, and to me, in fact, we had issues with them when I was the vice chairman of the committee. But when the explanation came, said, look, Aviation for I'm going to documents by. Said, look, Aviation for we can't go to this number of height because of this. And you see, my dream bar so kaya. I think there's a Nigeria airline bills a day. So you don't need to be doing those kind of high buildings. So if we cannot throw that 5 floors now away, and you 5 floors this one, they say no. Look, land economy now you can see that a lot of people are not even building your friends say short buildings or be a cost story building simply because a cost. Now even as so when you get opportunity, you try to make sure say ubeye BBF afa benefit to be akwechi. So if they are charged by square meter, are we looking at the cost? When did they started the plans? And as I said, and a Bank of Ghana, your margin say your friend is saying, your friend is almost new head office. From 1990, and we are margin so made almost new office. And I check it down to this. Look, if Bank of Ghana, I bet to me the I come out with all relevant documents. You can see, say, from that time up to the time when your government Emma Musasa Seno Kapono, a cow bono enya kakitwa. Because for my information, to me any about 5 or 6 consultants in the to get them a land. And all these places, they charge them. Now, say, your mom pay to buy a house self-contained 2-bedroom self-contained crowd, who agent. Agents need to be in the call effect. Dial how a bill Adom FM. And then be your friend is saying, Asempa FM. And then be your Joy FM. And then be your AM friend is saying, I also sent a friend is saying, office on them. And so do be baha. No assign no wako. No assign no aba. No assign no wako. No
on your feelings.
Exactly. So it's the same thing.
Only your feelings.
So it's the same thing. So all the people are the same enclave ones. So all the approaches are here to acquire a land to build their new office since 1990. No, they have been spending money on it. And then, likely for them, where they are building the office down, are buying there. And they got it through executive instrument.
Yeah.
And executive are buying end to me find you. But the current value of Asaseno on a land commission, a be calculated my wedding with you. So all these things,
when you do compulsory acquisition, lawyer, you have to pay Adom friend prompt and adequate compensation. Until no central bank had to pay and compare them to Sika baby and a bubozo on assassin. To Omukromaya, they say you land at it. Because
and then can you tell me how much a land is being sold? What? East Legon Hills, so the Mamin buy Rich because Rich is a very prime area. But look at East Legon Hills. I think those people are selling $300,000, $1 million. A plot. We are talking about almost about 6 to 7 acres of land.
Yeah.
6 acres.
that's a lot.
One plot, 1 acre, 4 plot. Yeah. Multiply by 6.
That's 24.
So multiply is assuming say even $3 million and $4 million multiply by the 24. But that's also you have to pay. You have to pay something to government.
No, guys, allow.
The same government was there when others
were
yeah.
So for me, I think, sir, with the explanation from the Bank of Ghana, no, for me, and the statement of the Barbon thing, and addressing the press, taking it one after the other now, I think that it is right. The minority say on the 5th of September, Omo koye demonstration. First, don't Omo kodaho. Omo bomika. Honestly,
Omo bomika. So
almost say they are going to sleep there. So my mattress is any of any pillow their mom. That can be going donation their mom minority. I'm telling you.
And the mattress is knowing.
I won't lie to you. Unfortunately for me, no. Me constituency so school secondary school wo ho no enya boarding am me dia come home
ente we papa mentimi ma me hwe
opa be na be hwe
baba be twam
na ko tomates any me boy say that's all the few pa
tua bonyen sisai oto tua bonyen sisai and that's what
ono se ku pio
that's for mama na
and mo bo me cat
for mama
I see Resoma say the group of joining.
Yeah, Arise Ghana.
It's the same thing. It's the same minority. We all know Resoma political affiliation in this country.
No, but I see Arise Ghana and a political group.
It's a political group, but it may not be a political party.
Exactly.
It's not known NDC for and the
yeah.
I mean, you have other people.
Fine. So it's the same thing. I've heard other your friends a pressure group belonging to the and also I do. Next year, you be a lot of pressure group. A lot.
Also be creative.
I get to be our man and
people will just come because of certain situation. I was on set with one your friend and say that's how we my will chat up. Now many a park. Parliament in a bonk. I'm so a park. You until we came to Parliament, I started laughing with you. I didn't like you one bit. I said why? I said you in 2012 before he became CSO. Now my analysis about elections you always hit to the MPP NDC side. And so when Obeye MPMs then you no you NDC for Juma. So most of these organizations that's how it is. Because they are sitting on their fence, no, they will pretend as if say there are people now who are speaking back all over. They are lawyers. But there have been promises. Say, attorney general. Say,
say, Bank of Ghana issues. Call into the electoral commission.
No, easy.
Okay, answer.
I mean, the other matters. You know,
I was just going to say, I mean, symbolic speech is part of democracy. Say, a man for Bayo, HA strikes in the right to free expression. But media, I'm not saying a more money, but to what end? It is to express certain concerns. Movie say, money Bank of Ghana and I'm continue maybe press statement on Mudiabe. Anke if the minority and anybody who wants to join sub protest is minded that Adaina yentimi emfre and I extend invitation to the central bank say kebeya yentinase nyuma na yentiase no the same nanka watch that is I think that such a dialogue will be very helpful and might even help situate some in
lawyer
on you no yati but you
electoral commission voter registration exercise
CJ I'm Sabrina Yasu doing a yentimi monche you see sir Obertron din na me Adom
I think it's starting from 12 September
next month 12 November September now I'm saying other political parties but other political parties be a press conference in citing certain reasons.
CPP,
GCPP.
Yeah.
Latin party.
Yeah.
That's all.
What to say?
LPG.
No, some many of them.
LPG. Akpalu.
Hey. Those parties.
Now what can I do?
I mean, PNC, Nini, I've made the point that these are living corpses. They only revive during elections.
I mean, they are living corpses in your view.
Oh, I've been there.
I mean, to some people,
I've been there.
They are okay.
And when I tell you about their survival state, you should.
So now,
we are doing 5 minutes on the electoral commission.
I said, we didn't any edition of Bachano. Omko share IPAC meeting, which IPAC meeting, one more IPAC meeting in the press conference in Rwanda. No one say, Mamiko resist Obachno Dean, our cancer or Bayan or district centers. Woman in one was the woman in the Yadrin. Amok, I said, Omakan, would your woman equina can what it? Woman in Crawford, no. Young Quatin Quatia, Mammy, the was just over Dean. You didn't ban over Dean, I won't brass. You've been wanting to 2020 now be at that time, 18. But and Nasabi and Naya or nothing when you're 18, 19, whatever. After no opportunity. Some for the opportunity, no opportunity, or this is sentence. But it's on. My butter, that means I had them to send them back. I can say, Mammy James, won't you? Or call Parliament, a brand. Since I'm by who's or Nigeria be by an parliament, someone so parliament, no matter and maybe Muncho or Coho. Some year appeal, because I know I can say. Or but you do not know this district offices to centers. I'm a woman catching now, or no assistant BCG or my reason. Or some Mr. Speaker. The entire officer was true, didn't know what this centers and said was it to prevent young, I mean, because they are the political parties from busing people to the police stations. Are you serious? What Ghana electoral them as a bar? ya me ukọ me kuro mu a me police station e wo me na chipe right behind my house and a police station wo see a true di ni wa ye be ba se nkrofo de akọ so now you the call this is capital na dia the ofri ho ba ho no obetu of you na ba ho is this rational see sabi da fa to nyansa pa was asking mu yinkra ha frim and tamafrim most district wo okrom in cross and for more district okrom
odoso
nkro no
odoso and I'm sure be a district capital crowd achima chance
thank you
answer na bia be free aprade ana say achim so ana baby sa ba ho no yeah achima chance oda achim so ro evisa yeah
baby ko tini zuafo no
yeah that go off oh na me free
okay tu na anti-crack
ayo yate so what you say CJ ye wo ukọ ente meka say wo de yinkra film ukọ ada district na obi district capital na e wo bi obi se bi adenta na wote bi adansoman ana wo see from adansoman to adenta na okọ na ho de ye mbase no that is your view. Was say the entire children in the district capitals in the say the region of parliament on the floor of parliament in the say to prevent politicians or political parties
to deter politicians from
busing people to the centers to go and write their names. What kind of logic is this?
But wherever they are coming for, they take a car.
Thank you very much.
No, but what is it? People will be bobia. What mean?
Yeah. Thank you very much. I mean, we're logically fine to say. Number two, knowing very well, say. The actual didn't was center and they say me chrome the example proximity near number one. Number two, I mean you're penny agent to how one me some me I take fee it me ban me what take fee number no short I don't know if you are saying what anymore. He can challenge a woman who was if you want to because me never to na the opposite push you because you got one back community no because I wouldn't want.
But do you think that thing works?
It does. I mean, it does. Sanity,
yeah.
Okay, so my point is now, sir. Because would you mean Accra from Accra? Someone is different. In terms of you would from. But Ghana is not just Accra, but we
do Kruma, Obian Mubia.
Messi Mukrum, we do the only moon, would you bought maybe our grandparents will be. He can tell who get birth to everything. It wouldn't have to just by the way. Makase population says the chairman do 10 years on Sunday. Every year you can just assign the assembly members. I mean they can all do it for you. See, by the close of every year, be about the population of every community or district. But we didn't put it just by the way. It's so when the mayor we now can send in our coach into a district centers. Oh boy. That are not also preventing. You are rather opening the floodgate for it to come in masses. Yeah. Because now, many penny the consequence in Mono, or be our THC, there be a son of all interest of person neighbor. I also the mask of a neighbor. Because normally, the normal Ghanaian who say Okotun Biancotoba or Yame and Nimini Papa. By going to vote for us.
Yeah.
It's one music of chimple like. One another one maybe be one the thank you one the good and the word one the one maybe be a manani and on cock na go back to some of them for not by me uncle being canasa it mammy so what is young master would there be an hour and can you one I think I and to actually ye free gambaga will village one the aircane wow shall we not again? Was it?
Not only those areas.
That's how many honor.
So what I said. So it's young. When we are taking decisions, IPAC for the young person by putting the IPAC in the town. And that day, you need to know. You listen to the people that you are coordinating their affairs. Okay.
Small boycott bibia. If you don't say you come boycott,
boycott.
Maybe I'm Munyabutra man and no see from just
Mr. Bambi. Share ya boycott there. Now soon say someone boycotting no as on can one find And these are the issues that we kept raising. Sir, Subaina with the one ya Baba Sidna ya na wakoya would ya a favor one. And what party, I mean, coordinations.
Okay.
So exactly. Okay. So person ya nadi ya dwene anim de bom ya dwuma de ya. Ya bani ya kacha mpanisa nyansa when ya fa na bakufuti.
Yeah.
It's ya try de chofa no mabi hu a obi I said you go Jeffrey Sekwa. Konukom na kwa say host there. Ti wo mo free titiri ba no be ka kire say ha de wo ye nsia emmoa sua ye ka nyina no say fa ko ye bo fa say electoral areas na no de anya bit convenient for people to come in and register.
Okay, but that's it. Even
just 2 minutes.
The position of the EC.
Yes.
2 minutes. Now,
for me, I think say
I take.
For once, I agree with lawyer.
What's it for once? As there be on me agree.
Because you are politicians.
Yeah.
I've been a candidate on 3 occasions. And let me honestly with you. Udu registration exercise one, you spend much money than even election day. Who say sika during registration? A chain election day. Mikai 2012. Omu ye 40 days registration be. A kakan kami uye.
It draining you, pa.
I'm telling you. Because all the agents go to her, you are feeding them morning and evening. Who you have some pocket money. 40 days. So I think that the EC need to come back again. Look, they even did one registration B. I remember, I think the 2015 we are limited B. And at that time, no, not the 4 Ablukman in our one district. Ablukman Central, Ablukman South, Ablukman North, Ablukman West. Now one district officer. So all the 4 constituencies in Yano, ebe good your friend say.
And imagine when also
so what they did was that Uremwa Ablukman North before her, Ablukman South for her, Ablukman West for her, and Ablukman Central for her. And you see, and then the man in Kofo get the opportunity to bring people to come and register in the constituency. They don't belong.
We belong there.
So Mimi feel say oh, uti him fan.
Can challenge it.
Of your Ablukman North oh. But it be not oti I saw it down. And I saw it down also I have a police station there. Ablukman North first was police station wo. Because I need the numbers, I'll tell you go and register that Ablukman. Number 2 your friends say Prudential Bank. Meanwhile no, I saw to SDA na wo I saw it down. Yeah. And I say oh, Okankwe South. Me say oh, register what your friend is saying ICW. Because I know me. Meanwhile no, across the streets no, there's a school that belongs to your friends Okankwe South for no, and also honum. Oh yeah, district office. Mimi was serving electoral areas. There's only one electoral area on a district office no war. That everybody around that area no can just walk to the place. But if Mimi electoral area, I don't electoral area, I need to give the person money to come or and take a car to go to the district. Even though Obetman but say as politicians and 2 more on to me deny. I can go to Ablukman North or I can go to Ablukman South or even go to Adom and go and bust people from there to come and register and come and vote for me. What I say, I can go because you don't know where the people are coming from. By the time I confront do center honum no. Now my mom house numbers dada. So when you go or they are no register. But if at least this is an appeal to EC. Saying to me all the police station which I know say it is impossible.
And electoral area.
Electoral area. So every electoral area you go to mount your friend saying machines there.
Make an electoral area. It's not about 6 or so.
No, it depends.
It depends.
I'm talking for instance, I have 58 police stations.
Yeah.
Making the
electoral area. So when you are doing it at a particular electoral area, ukwa, and normally I think they have done that before.
Oh yes, they have.
Me quite remember I said JT.
2019, I think so.
And JT is a very big school. Obiaso nimho. So when you go and register, miti faith, then you put you at that police station. So when they are doing the exhibition, after the exhibition, it's being done at every police station.
Yeah.
So when you go, you
go there, you check your name.
So I want to make this passionate appeal, not on behalf of the NDC4. But I want to make a passionate appeal to them. Say, if for nothing at all, it should be done at the various
I think, yes, sorry.
I mean, Obia Onimi knows how passionate I am when it comes to the Electoral Commission. Any Juma Omoye. Because me feel say Electoral Commission Juma na nkoyi a ye nyina dia e friend Kabina Mikama mamu no ebegu sesi a. Nti it was for that same reason. Myself and the organization I belonged to, or I still belong to, Mass Action. Yeka said, look, there was a need for us to do a new register. Just to have a credible register. To have a register, okay, we can relate to this register. We have some amount of faith in this register. And look, and eventually was done. On this occasion, many Electoral Commission for Nyadrin Baku cry. Look, you will continuous registration. And when I with district offices. And continuous registration is different. Numbers no be a whole month can be uncle hoye. By limited registration, people who have turned 18 and people who did not have the chance to register.
For the past 4 years.
Exactly.
For the past
What must I say? Until numbers no was so. And the practice has always been that we do it at the polling stations. Like it's been suggested, let's cluster it around electoral areas. Electoral areas is easy, depending on where you come from. You wait to say, we'll give you this polling station. Now, and the question I maybe answer, what is the easiest difficulty?
No.
This cannot be innovation. This cannot be innovation. And if the reason is to prevent busing, what is wrong with busing people? You see, media. If the reason is to stop busing, busing people, because if you are concentrating everything in one district, how then do you stop? In fact, that is even the more reason why busing will happen.
I don't want you to bring people from Nairobi to Gamaga.
No, but the point is that Nippon would now go district office. Obe Huriabaho and Obe Nantiabaho. And do you think that look like Chum said? I didn't say Omufi say people still don't understand the value of the vote.
Of course.
Still Omufi say politicians favor.
Yeah.
And you are just going to you are going to increase the cost to the politician. And at the end of the day, cry is going to be chaotic. Imagine the numbers. Now one district office. Hey, look, I didn't know it's untidy, it's unwholesome. If you were there and issues are murezi, no, you see, Jerry. I've been a member of IPAC. I've been a member of IPAC for many years. You see, even though it is one man, one vote, but it is not one man, one voice. So, what I say, voice is a BH. Until you cannot say, you cannot equate the voice of the NDC to the voice of parties. Maybe CPP cry was so. So me has so me him for some parties. You can. There's a difference. What is it? What the NDC was saying? Say near NDC Becca. Minkaze at the IPAC it is assumed we are there on equal strengths. But Nukra woman say the unspoken reality is say. Some voices matter much more than others. What you say? Okay. And your presence would have been very, very important. But that should not take away the fact that near easy person at your house, but let's rethink it. Okay. And Musu, you should go back and always make that point very clearly.
There's this one on a lighter note. Okay. Nanampofo. I say Atik is a fine gentleman, I like his voice and submission too. He should not follow the NPP and NDC, blah blah blah. He will go far. Thank you. And that's one for